peace, rising. Hope everyone is well today. So, I wanted to jump into the Unjayi breath with you guys. Unjayi breath is a foundational yogic breathing technique, and it's used almost in every aspect of pranayama. It's used in asana practice as well. For those who practice asana often, you're probably familiar with this term Unjayi breath. So, since it's so important, it's so connected to drawing up prana in asana, in pranayama, and even in deep states of meditation, I thought I'd take the time to set a video on just the Unjayi pranayama. So, what is Unjayi? Unjayi breath, aka the oceanic breath, aka the Snorlax sounding breath. Okay. This pranayama is used to help synchronize the breath and the thoughts together. And it's also used to naturally engage the bandhas as well. Almost a natural Uddiyana bandha comes from a proper Unjayi breath. And we went over Uddiyana bandha in previous videos, so if you're unfamiliar with that term, just go back into some of the older videos, type in keyword pranayama, and it should come up, and you can see the Uddiyana bandhas. So Unjayi is really powerful, and I'm gonna demonstrate right quick what it sounds like, and then we'll go into what it feels like, how to properly do it, engage the muscles in the abdomen, in the back of the throat, which are required to properly activate the Unjayi breath. So Unjayi breath, again, it's this deep inhale that's really accessing the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is made up of just connective tissue, and the diaphragm is your gateway from the external world into the connective tissue, which is the network for all of your experiences. All of the life lived experiences are living inside of the connective tissue. That's like the web of fascia inside of the body that's highly intelligent and holds every experience that you have is recorded in the connective tissue, in that web of fascia. And the diaphragm, which is also full of connective tissue, is using the prana to access the connective tissue and pulling out some of the stagnant energy that's been sitting in the connective tissue, the residue buildup inside of the connective tissue, the patterns, the physical patterns, that we develop, the mental patterns that we develop, the emotional responses that we develop is programmed into the connective tissue. So a method of healing is to understand how to access the connective tissue and heal the mind, body, and spirit through the connective tissue. And Unjayi breathing is one technique used to actually access that web of information, that web of fascia, and draw it up and out. So it's really powerful, really important, really deep, really cool. And I think it's important to show you guys it. So this is how it goes. Sit up nice and tall, either cross-legged or hips on the heels on a block, whatever is comfortable for you. And you want your nostrils to be clear. You want to breathe in and out the nose with Unjayi. The mouth stays closed the whole time. And you want to feel for the back of your throat being wide, but you're sort of pushing the air only into the back of the throat. Excuse me. So it's a slight constriction of the throat, and you're forcing the air only into the back of it. And then you're gonna naturally also engage the abdomen with this Unjayi. The nostrils are wide, the rib cage will expand slightly. The two bottom ribs, the bottom portion of the rib cage is gonna expand slightly, and the abdomen will stay engaged. Okay, it'll remain still while you send this breath upwards into the rib cage. Diaphragm expanding, back of throat expanding. Okay, so I'll do a few rounds of Unjayi. Take a deep inhale in the nose. Let's do an exhale out the mouth. And begin. Okay, keep going on your own if you still want to practice a few more rounds, and I'll just talk you through it. So you want to find the top of an inhale where there's a natural pause and the bottom of the exhale where there's a natural pause. You want to get a full inhalation and a full exhalation. This will allow you to naturally engage the Uddiyana Bandha and the Unjayi much easier. The belly button stays still really, except in the exhalation. In the exhale, you want to pull your navel back a little bit. Just a little, pull it back, and this will complete the exhale, okay? So your next inhale is deeper. Back of the throat stays wide. Chest is up, shoulders are back, and the chin is just slightly tucked to your chest, okay? Keep practicing for a few more rounds of this Unjayi breathing, the oceanic sounding breath. The breath should be audible to your own ears. And when you're ready, you can slowly release. And just breathe normally. And notice how it's different from the Unjayi. There's no sound. There's no control of the breath. You're controlling, you're pulling the inhalation up and out with the Unjayi. It's a much more active way of breathing than passive. And you feel this inhalation happening almost right at the solar plexus, you know, right at the center of your torso. You feel this inhalation coming in and expanding outward into your rib cage, into your diaphragm, filling you up. And this is the Unjayi breathing. So remain seated, okay, and just sit here. I want to share some notes with you guys. I've been reading a lot about the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, and I have some notes on the text that I think is really, really cool to share with you guys. So, we've been on this topic of breath a lot, and I want to share some notes from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika on the power of breath. So breath and focus are directly connected. Freedom comes when the winds in the mind dissolve. Freedom comes when the winds in the mind dissolve. So what are these winds? These are the inner winds, the vayus. Remember, samana vayu, prana vayu, upana udana vayu. These are the 5 vayus in the body. These are the inner winds. Freedom comes when the winds in the mind dissolve. Okay? So once you master these inner winds, the winds inside the mind, which are like pretty much like your thoughts, your mental afflictions, these things begin to dissolve. Okay? This is when the two side channels enter the mid channel. So how do you control these inner winds, these vayus? which control your thoughts in your mind. You do this by mastering the left and right channel, the female and masculine aspect of the human being. Ida and Pingala, okay? Nadi Shodhana is a great exercise for that. You can do Nadi Shodhana with the hands or without. You can just feel the inhalation going into one nostril, holding it at third eye, and then exhaling out the right nostril. That's one way. Also, many acts of compassion are good for clearing up the left and right channel as well, okay? And we have any other pranayamas that we've shown will be good for clearing up left and right channel. Then we have freedom in 3 levels. So once you bring the 2 side channels into the center channel, which is Sushumna Nadi, then we have freedom in 3 levels. What are these 3 levels? Freedom from seeing things from their own side. Freedom from our own negative thoughts. And freedom from our own limitations of tending to someone else's needs. So I'll say them again. Freedom from seeing things from their own side. Only seeing something from its own side. You have a freedom from that. Freedom from our own negative thoughts. There's a freeing up from that. Freeing from our own limitations of tending to someone else's needs. Okay. These are the 3 freedoms that we get once we bring the right and left channel into the center channel, according to Hatha Yoga Pradipika. We must be the Lord of our senses, seeing how our thoughts control our senses, and our winds control our thoughts. Our side channels control our winds. No longer resting in sensory pleasure, food, sex, and entertainment. Then we can dwell in more subtle states of being, eventually reaching a state of deathlessness. So deathlessness, right? It's really emptiness. And emptiness comes from the mind, how you perceive. So they just laid out basically the step-by-step on how to achieve emptiness, achieve self-realization, achieve truth, essentially, and it's through your perceptions. So I hope that was somewhat inspirational or even informative for you guys to want to start to question how you perceive things in your life, and are you only seeing things from one side? Knowing that every object has a true nature of its own, including you. So, and the 3rd freedom I find very powerful, freeing from the limitations of tending to someone else's needs. That's very powerful as well. For me personally, being able to help people without having a limitation on that is a sense of freedom. So, do your pranayamas, practice Unjayi. Okay, you have any questions about Unjayi, feel free to comment. Okay, you guys use this platform to interact with me, to reach out to me and ask me any questions. We can directly converse on there. So you can message me, anything like that, okay? So enjoy the rest of your day and namaste.